All right, from all the way near the back of a Whole Food shopping line and straight out of a motherfucking Benihana's, born and raised in the suburbs, that punk rock radar beat drums on. Today we're doing the good, the bad, the ugly, and the leftover crack family tier list. So let's kick it off.
All right, everyone, if you're into vibrant album art and positivity, today is not your day because like Matt said, today we are tackling the crack rock steady family. And I just want to start off first. I want to give credit where credit is due. I'm not sure how the diehard crusties are going to feel about this, but I give Leftover Crack, Choking Victim, all those bands a lot of credit for, in my opinion, making this style accessible for the masses. Like, there wasn't a lot of bands that made crust so melodic where it's like borderline sing-along. That's not an easy feat. So today, we're going to show some appreciation. We're going to get our jabs in here and there, but overall, we're going to try and make this a nice positive video. All right, so with that out of the way, Lewis, how are you doing today?
No complaints, man. Happy to be here to be reviewing this rich collection of bands here. And, I've been trying to get into the mindset to kind of appreciate the music. Haven't showered in a few days, getting a little crusty. I'm not going to go full, but, you said it's just to be accessible. So I'm getting there. Maybe eat some government cheese. I don't know, but we're going to see how it goes and see what we like about these albums, which I am a huge fan of these bands. So I'm happy to be reviewing them. So, but Matt, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. So, I'm looking forward to jumping into this. I think my opinion on them has changed after listening to them for weeks upon weeks. So, we'll see how my ranking stacks up and what the viewers think about it. But, with that being said, I think we're going to jump right in and we're going to be doing Choking Victim first. No gods, no managers.
And when there is no hope, I smoke the crack, I choose to know. When there's no enemies, I'm sitting staring my TV.
So for Choking Victim, no gods, no managers. This may be a surprise, but I have this one as B. After listening to this one, I feel like this is a B album to me. The front half is good. The back half, I really don't care for. I really can't listen to it. So like basing this is like, how many songs can I listen to without skipping? And I felt maybe the first 5 were good. And then after that, I'm just skipping through the album. I'm not really feeling it. So I'm putting this one in B. How about you guys?
I mean, I'm pretty shocked, but Lewis, if you want to go first.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll do a little show and tell as we go along here. So this is Choking Victim, No Gods, No Managers, while we line it up on vinyl.
What a beauty.
What a beauty, right? You got to love all that Satano artwork, which pretty good stuff. But I'm shocked as well with Matt. I thought it would have been a lot higher for you, Matt. With me, this is, out of these albums, these bands, this one's definitely an S for me. I remember hearing this album the first time and it just like totally kicking me in the guts. It was unlike really anything I'd been listening to. It came at the right time. I was like 16, hadn't heard a bunch of stuff that wasn't more mainstream punk rock, trying to learn about more bands and just hearing these guys kind of was a totally different experience. I still think 500 Channels is one of my favorite punk songs of all time. So it just stays up there. I totally see what you're saying about the weaker back end of the album, but I still like a lot of those songs anyway, even the sludgier ones. So I just appreciate them for a different way. So I'm going to go with an S all the way.
All right. Yeah. I mean, after what Matt said, like I'm rethinking, like I thought this was going to be unanimous S across the board. I'm pretty shocked. Like Lewis said, like 500 Channels is definitely my favorite track on here. If you're curious, Lewis and I both read the book earlier this week, and Lars Fredriksen's favorite song is Fucked Reality. I don't know if I agree with that. And I was talking to you guys earlier. I'm pretty sure In My Grave is a Suicide Machine song. I don't know which one, but I'm going to stick with my gut. I mean, I really like this album. I personally think it's one of the best ska punk albums of all time. Like, I'm not trying to be hyperbolic here, but I feel like there wasn't a lot of stuff like this. I have to show respect and show credit. I really enjoy this album. I still listen to it once in a while. Definitely not as much as I used to, but I'm comfortable with S. Like looking at the catalog here that we have to pick from, I don't know what I'd put above it. But I'll get right into the next one. Leftover Crack, Mediocre, Generica, released in 2001. This is probably my personal favorite in the entire catalog. This is my other S tier. I mean, this album's obviously really important to all of us, like all the grimy venues we saw them on this tour. And there's just not a lot of bands that can pull off this style. And I feel like this album in particular just like encouraged like a whole wave of imitators. This kind of set like a blueprint for, crack rock steady, modern, crusty ska punk. And I think they just do it better than anyone. But Lewis, where are you putting Mediocre Generica?
Yeah, it's not going to be an S or an A for me. I'm putting it in B. That's not to say I don't love this album, but you know what the name of the game is. We're ranking against everything, and I tend to like some of the other stuff a little bit more. I think this album has some of the later half kind of weakness, and a lot of filler songs. Although the songs that are on this are amazing, and I guess we'll do a little show and tell with the original album cover. Sorry, I have my flip cameras a little bit hard. And we should note, originally it was supposed to be titled Shoot the Kids at School, right? And changed that title, released on 9/11/01. So a whole bunch of stuff went on with this album. But
they're big edgelords right there.
Big
Edgiest
edgelords.
fan ever. Edgy.
So this album, one thing, you mentioned we read the book, and it was interesting that they even consider this one like an album with too much filler. Like they said it should have just been an EP. And I think it does clock in at like 20 something minutes. So it is pretty short. But the songs that are on here are excellent. I totally agree with your assessment though about making, they have just songs in here that are super accessible and still have the edgelord potential with the melodic good punk stuff in there. So I'm a big fan, but I'm putting it at B, and we'll kind of see where everything else falls out.
All right, Matt, what about you?
Yeah, so I'm putting this one in A. I feel like the track list on this one is better than No Gods, No Managers. I feel like there's less songs I'm skipping on this one. The first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then in the later half too, you have like Born to Die, Crack City Rockers. So yeah, I'm putting this one in A for me.
Yeah, I mean, Nazi White Trash, Atheist Anthem, Gay Rude Boys, Stop the Insanity, Crack City Rockers, Born to Die. Like for me, that's enough. Like I get that it could be an EP, but all those songs are awesome. So yeah, S or A for me, but this is my favorite of the entire list. But Matt, I'm going to let you take it away with the next one. Morning Glory, There's No Time to Sleep, released in 2001. Go ahead.
Walk slowly, let's get control. We gotta take it back. Everyone get up and let's go.
Yeah. So Morning Glory, No Time to Sleep, released in 2001. So I have this one in C for myself. I just feel like the quality of it, the sound, to me it's a C. It's a C album. A lot of fillers on here too, I feel like.
Lewis, what about you?
Might surprise you because you know how big of a Morning Glory fan I am, but name of the game again. I'm putting this one in D, and it's almost exclusively on how bad it sounds sonically, and also a lot of the Matt's points of having some filler in there. Although obviously this is where Gang Control came from, which a lot of people say is the best Leftover Crack song, but it started here. Summer Burst is a really good song, Extraordinary. In the spirit of the name of the game here, putting it at D in my settings here.
All right. Well, I mean, this is no secret to you guys, but I'll just tell everybody, like, I actually like Star Fucking Hipsters, F-, Introspect, No Cash, Positive Junk better than Morning Glory. I'm just not a fan of Morning Glory at all. And like, this might be my favorite of theirs. Like, that should just tell you something, but you guys mentioned Gang Control, but for me, all these songs are just way too long and drawn out. Like, I don't know who produced this album, but they could have cut at least a minute off of almost every song. You can kind of say that across Morning Glory's catalog. For me, they're all like 3.5, 4.5, 5 minutes. It's just way too much. But I don't have enough room in my D tier for all the Morning Glories, so I'm going to put this one in C.
I think this was produced on like a 4-track, I assume. So I think this was kind of recorded piecemeal across various places. I think in terms of the production.
Yeah. There's probably no producers, so we'll let it slide. There you go. There's your C, to be nice. But Lewis, I know you really like this next one. INDK Kill Whitey, released in 2002.
I don't have the LP, but we'll share the INDK. I don't think the LP exists on 12-inch, but the INDK 7-inch. INDK Kill Whitey. This is going to be my other S tier record. And I don't know, maybe some people might think I'm crazy, but I feel like INDK doesn't get talked of nearly enough when talking about these bands. This is like an almost perfect punk record, in my opinion. It's got some of the ska elements still in it. It's pretty accessible. It's still got some of the hard parts. It's got good sing-along vocals. It pretty much took what they were kind of doing with the Choking Victim and made it a little bit more straight punk rock and roll. I love this album. I've always loved it, and it is definitely an S for me. Standouts for me are definitely Killing Is Contagious, East Coast Rising, and Off the Scope. What do you think? Who's it on? I think Matt, or are we going to you?
Yeah, go for it, Matt. I fucked up the order, but we'll get the split after this. Matt, but go ahead. INDK, what do you think?
Yeah, so this album, INDK shows you a band's potential without having SZA in it. And this is why I'm putting this one in S tier. You can really see the real member was Ezra in Leftover Crack, Choking Victim. And you see this without SZA, how much better they got. So I'm putting this one in S tier.
Man, the hate for SZA.
The hate.
I think this is a really good one too. I'm going to go B personally. The first song, like I went through this one. I listened to this one a lot because it's one I haven't revisited in a while. The first song is probably my favorite. And actually, I don't know about you guys, it reminds me of Angry, Young, and Poor. Just kind of like the chorusy part of there. But yeah, this album rocks. Like for me, it's not quite on the level of Mediocre, Generica, but it's not Morning Glory. So I'm going to put it in my B tier. But now let's hit the split. This is F- Crack Rock Steady split, released in 2001. Matt, if you want to take it away.
Yeah, so this one for me is going straight into the D list. I don't like it. It sounds horrible. The songs are horrible, and it's a D for me, man. I can't. I listened to it, and my ears started to bleed. So it's a D for me.
Wow, like I did not see like a lot of your list going this way. Like I'm pretty shocked.
Yeah, it's like you could tell me you can listen to this over and over again for weeks upon weeks. This album, no, like no way.
I don't know. I really like. I genuinely like this album. Like I'm pretty surprised.
I like it too.
Like
I'm not giving it an A, but it's a good album.
Yeah, I was gonna go B. Like I mean, I really like that all the songs are less than 2 minutes. I mean, it's got heroin or suicide, so you want to be a cop. Like the F- songs are even good. Like I even had this at A. Like I switched it last minute.
Hey.
But I'm going B. Lewis, what about you?
I'll put it in C. I also love this album, but we're obviously playing, in scope of the elements. Here's the LP, which I got down at Tompkins Square Park, which was a good show. I totally agree with what you said, John. Heroin or Suicide, I think, is one of the best Leftover Crack songs. I mean, there's some weak songs on here, don't get me wrong, but the F- songs, I think, kind of balance out the weaker Leftover Crack songs. So I think it's a pretty good record, and I think it's a solid C, and it was a good filler in between them putting out new stuff.
I'm with you. Yeah, Matt is really shocking both of us here, and I think maybe that shock isn't over yet. But Lewis, I'm gonna let you take it away first. With another Morning Glory, The Whole World Watching, released in 2003.
Yeah. So Whole World is Watching is a great record. I don't have anything to share. It's only on CD, and I think that's probably in storage. But This is I think the track list John is showing is the remaster, the re-release that came out a little bit later. Originally, it was just the first 5 songs. So that was great. I got this one, I think, when it first came out because I was kind of getting into into Leftover Crack and checking out all the related bands. This one's definitely an A for me, even though it's only an EP. Whole World is Watching is a fantastic song. Gimme Heroin's fantastic. And then the other songs are good. I mean, but those 2 are truly the standouts for me. So this one's definitely going to be all A, and I love this album.
All right, Matt, go for it.
Yeah, so The Whole World is Watching. I know in the past episode I have this in my top 10. And disclaimer for that, my top 10 was what I was into at the moment. So like what the flavor of the month was for me. So after listening to this album for weeks and weeks, it's no longer like a flavor of a month for me. I don't really like it that much anymore. So I'm putting this one down in C.
What?
I think I may have played it out, and I just can't listen to it anymore. So I think when we made that other episode, I was playing it constantly, and then when we did this, it's just over and over listening to it, and I just couldn't get into it anymore. I was like, nah, I'm just not feeling this. So I put it down in C.
All right. I mean, I didn't expect to agree with you on this, but I will also put Whole World Watching in C. Just going for the board diversity. Like I said, I can't have them all in D, but I don't know. This one might be my favorite Morning Glory between the other 2, but that's not saying much. It's like my favorite time I had Poison Ivy. So it's really not saying anything. But
I bet you're glad. I bet you're glad you didn't get matching Morning Glory tattoos with me now. So.
Yeah, Lewis, don't you have a tattoo for every band that we're talking about here, right? Pretty much.
I don't really have a Leftover Crack tattoo per se, but yeah, I have. I have a Morning Glory related tattoo, Choking Victim, and an INDK tattoo. Yeah. So.
Well, just so you guys know, a lot of what we're saying here is in jest. Like, I don't think the albums are that bad, but I'll kick off this next one. Because I have no idea where you guys are going to put it, so I'll kind of go first. We are on Leftover Crack, Fuck World Trade, released in 2004. And I'm going A here. And I want to say, I think after listening to Constructs of the State for the last 3 weeks, I actually think that's a better album. But overall, like, we just saw them a lot on this tour. Like, I have a lot of memories about this album. There was a lot of hype building up for this. We were waiting for this for a while. And I remember, like, we actually opened for them on a show on this tour. So, like, I have, like, a lot of memories of this album. And I honestly really, really like the song Clear Channel Fuck Off. Like, I was seeing a lot of people, including the band, don't care for it. And I was kind of surprised. Like, I just feel like that song hits so hard. Like, it's one of my favorite Leftover Crack songs. So I was surprised. Like we said, we look around, we see like what people think about these albums. A lot of people think that it's one of the worst songs on here. So shocking to see, but I really, really like this album. I have no problem putting it in the A tier. Matt, I will hand it off to you. What do you think about Fuck World Trade?
Yeah, John, I'm on the same level with you. I have this one as A as well, just because of the songs on here. So this is an A for me. And just like you said, the memories of, going to see them. I don't know, down in Brooklyn for a Cracktoberfest. Was that for this album? Yeah. So going to Cracktoberfest down in Brooklyn and everything like that and seeing them, it was a good time. So this is kind of has like nostalgia to it for me. So that's why I'm putting this one in A. But, it's just like the same blueprint over and over again. I can tell you the next Leftover Crack or whatever CD is going to be is we hate America, we hate cops, we hate religion. So I just wish they kind of throw some new things in there to hate, just to kind of spice it up a little bit.
You got star fucking hipsters for that. But yeah, I kind of get what you're saying. But Lewis, I want to hear what you think about Fuck World Trade, and if you have any specific memories about it either, because this is the one I feel like we were really, really into them when this came out.
Yeah, so here is the vinyl that we that I got at the show that we opened for them. So they gave us a bunch of free merch because we let them use our equipment, which was very cool. So I still have the vinyl. So much love and respect for that. So that's awesome. This album, I was actually I didn't realize how well received this album was, I guess. So it's super popular. And I even I do some research and people are like, this is the album that got me into punk rock. I'm like, wow, what a weird first album to get you into punk rock. Like, I don't know where you found this. I think you're probably lying.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good album. I think my biggest problem with this, and I don't think I'm going to rate it as high as you guys, I'm putting it at a B. And mainly the reasons are I think all the songs are pretty good. Most of the songs, a lot of the songs that were on this were kind of previously released and other stuff. And as somebody who was really hungry for other new Leftover Crack stuff coming out at that time, I was hearing all that stuff, and I was a little disappointed with hearing so many older songs on it, even if they were slightly modified and stuff. And, I had actually, regardless of that, but it's a good album. I think it's a B. Definitely an important album, and I think we're all pretty in agreement that it's good. Just one tier off.
Mm-hmm. All right, yeah, this is where we're at right now, and the next one, the Citizen Fish Leftover Crack Split Deadline. It's not on Spotify. It's kind of difficult to find, which is surprising considering it's on Alternative Tentacles and Fat, but I'm actually not opposed to it not being on Spotify because I don't care for it very much. I'm not really looking for it. But Lewis, if you want to take us into it.
Well, if we're doing the record still, here it is on vinyl. I don't know if it's rare or not, but here it is. This was an album that I was really looking forward to, right? So because I feel like Fuck World Trade was really hot. It was a good album. It satisfied that need. And then, waiting for content. You never know what's going on with this band. And then you hear they're doing a split. I like Citizen Fish enough. I wouldn't describe myself as a super fan. And then this album came out, and what a fucking disappointment. It's just there's a good song on it maybe, or elements of a few good songs. I got to the point where I was pretending I liked it, and then upon listening to it in prep for this, I was like, man, I really don't like any of these songs really. And I was even listening to the Citizen Fish more. I was like, oh, well, at least this doesn't sound like total shit. But this is the one I'm going to be negative on. I apologize. I haven't been negative. This one's a super big disappointment. I'm amazed that Fat kept them on their record label after putting out this record with them. It's a D.
All right, Matt, what about you?
Yeah, man, I have this one in a D. It just sucks. So the way I look at splits, and that's why I have the F-1 in D. So the way that I compare splits with bands, I try to pick what are my top splits and does it hold water to those? So I'm comparing Bouncing Souls Anti-Flag split, and I'm comparing
that's the best one of all time.
Common Rider against Authority split. And do these splits that Leftover Crack make hold water to those? And it's nowhere near it. So that's why these are in D. So I try to base it off of other splits and how they are. And this one doesn't hold any water to those two. So this is down in D.
All right. I mean, I agree with both of you guys. This actually bumped a Morning Glory out of the D tier for me. So that should say something for you. Maybe Citizen Fish is one of the few bands I like less than Morning Glory. Because in my opinion, the best song on here is them ruining Clear Channel Fuck Off. So I'm not
the best song.
And I'm not into it at all. This is easy D for me. I just didn't want all my D's to be Morning Glory. So I want to thank Citizen Fish for being so terrible. But up next, we have Morning Glory, Poets Were My Heroes, released in 2012. And Matt, I'm gonna let you take this one away.
Morning Glory, Poets Were My Heroes. Where did I put this one? Give me 1 second, John. I believe Poets Were My Heroes. I have this as B, actually. I have this in the B. I thought this is a pretty solid Morning Glory album. Is it A tier? Is it on pace with the ones I have in A tier? No, I don't think so. So that's why I put this one in B. I think it's a solid album from Morning Glory.
All right, Lewis, what about you?
Well, keeping up with the vinyl train, here's Poets of the Heroes on the dual gatefold. This album, I was so looking forward to. What was it? It released 12 years or something after the other one, 7 years. I think it's about 7 years since the EP or something like that. And this one didn't disappoint me. I really think this is a really strong album overall. I'm putting this one as an A. I don't have a lot of A's there. This is an A for me. Patiently is a fantastic song. They got the re-recorded version of Divide By. I really like almost every song on this besides the intro nonsense. So I'm curious to hear what I would think, John, when you first started listening to Morning Glory again, you were like, oh, this is pretty good. I thought this album you would have liked. Like, I think this is a pretty good record, pretty accessible. It's got good anthemic gang vocals, it's got everything. And I want to hear why you put this one in C.
Well, yeah, it's not bad, but like I kind of feel the same way about these next two. Like, there's like a lot of references to like heroin and stuff on this one, and it's pretty ironic because I was nodding off through all the songs. But like, I just feel like it's like purposefully like grandiose. Like, I feel like there's a lot to each song, and then you're just kind of let down. It's just kind of drones on and on. It's like, I feel like this album should have been called maybe Cyberpunk 77 because there's all this build up and hype, and then you just end up with cars falling from the sky and disappointed, wondering if Keanu Reeves even listened to the album. So I'm gonna put this in my C tier, and which is fine. It's with all the other Morning Glories. I kind of hold it in that same respect. But I'll just go into the next one, War Psalms, released in 2014. This one I'm
already getting ready.
Well, this one I'm going D. This is probably my least favorite. I really don't care for this one. It's just like Poets Were My Heroes, but it's even more drawn out. Like, I don't know if I made it through a single song on here because they're all so repetitive. The poor guy in the standard issue music video who had to handwrite all these lyrics, he was like War and Peace by the time he finished the video, just rewriting this chorus over and over again. But go ahead, Lewis. Where are you putting War Psalms?
Sorry. All right. I agree with some of your complaints. I think some of the songs do go a little long, but I think that's kind of just, guys, I think that's what he was trying to do. So obviously you didn't like it. It might work for you or not. War Psalms for me, and here we go with the vinyl. Here's the 12-inch, and here is the 10-inch post-War Psalms that came out as well, which is the B-sides and stuff. For me, this is a E. I like this album. It might be crazy that I ranked it higher than some of the others here, but I feel pretty good about it. As you know, I'm a bigger Morning Glory fan than you guys are. So I like a lot of the songs on here, even if they tend to go on a little bit longer. And there is one thing I wanted to point out, which I think is funny. So if you look here on the label, it says second full length from Morning Glory, which that is not correct, is it? This is at least the third, right? It cracked me up. I'm sorry. But it's a solid B for me. Definitely not that down on it. I think post-War Psalms, the 10-inch additional is nothing special, but the main album, Standard Issue, is a great song. A bunch of other good songs on there that I like. Matt, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, I'm putting this one in C for like the same reasons that John said. It just, to me, like, I couldn't finish the song. Like, I felt like I just couldn't stay focused and listen to this one. It was just kind of drawn out, and I just couldn't get behind it. But I don't think it was as bad as the ones I have in D, so that's why I have this one up there as C.
Yeah.
I want to point out right now that Matt and I have the exact same C tier. And if you had said this to me beforehand, if Matt and I were both going to have all Morning Glory in the C tier, I would have said no freaking way. So I'm pretty surprised. But we've got one album left, and you guys can all see where it's going for me. But Matt, I'll let you take us into Constructs of the State. Go for it.
It was
Yeah, so like this one I like flip-flopped a lot on for Constructs of the State. Um, I had this one originally going into A because I thought it was a solid album, but then I just like kept on listening to it and listening to it, and just like it's good, but it's not an A good. It goes into B, and it just like I don't know. I feel like every track has a guest person on it, which really shows you that SZA needs help. He can't do it on himself, so he has to like pull in everyone. For this album. So that's why this album was good, but like, come on, man, like he had more like guest appearances than Kanye West albums. It was like every song in here was a guest appearance by somebody, and it's just like I don't know. It was just played out for me. Like, come on, my man, like do something by yourself.
My man.
All right, Lewis, let me hear it.
I actually had War Psalms in B. So that means that my A spot is going to Constructs of the State. And just to finish it off, here it is on vinyl. Oh, I'm frozen. Oh, there we go. So there it is. So ultimate fanboy record collection going on, but John wanted me to show them. They have the edgiest covers, guys. No. But Constructs of the State, in my opinion, is the best Leftover Crack album. It's one of the. I know that it's not. Doesn't have my favorite songs. I think most of my favorite Leftover Crack songs are probably on Mediocre, Generica, but this album just has a ton of that Fat Wreck polish, and then also keeps a lot of their regular sound. Like that's always my fear when a band that was not on Fat Wreck signs to Fat Wreck is that they become Fat Wrecked and they sound like every other band on Fat Wreck. That didn't really happen here. A couple little elements of it, but a really strong album. And I think we'd be remiss to like not mention, and I'm not going to know her name, but they added the female singer to this album, and she is awesome and adds a lot to a lot of the songs, and especially like Bedbugs and Beyond, and this whole track list is fantastic.
She's the singer from Days and Days.
Okay,
he was dating her.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, he was dating her.
We'll just leave it. If it's true, it's true. If it's not, I'm sure someone will let us know.
All right. Well, okay, I could be wrong, but it's a good album. It's solid A for me. John, where do you have it? I think I know as well there. So
yeah, I'm going A also. Lewis, you've been recommending this album to me for probably since it came out, and I just kind of kept pushing it off. But like the last 3 weeks out of all these albums, I listened to this the most. Like even after I decided I was ranking it in A, I kept listening to it because I thought it was that good. You mentioned the song, like my favorites here are gonna be System Fucked, Bedbugs and Beyond, and my favorite on here is actually Slave to the Throne, which is like kind of cool, like an 80s thrash style song. It's something I hadn't heard the band really do before, but I really enjoyed that song. And this, I fully intended on having INDK in my A tier when we started this out, but this bumped it like probably on my second listen just because the production holds up better, the songwriting's a little better. And I just think, I mean, it's probably my third favorite Leftover Crack, but that's only because of like nostalgia and memories. And I really just got into this recently, but I could see it rising up the more I listen to it. I think it's an awesome, awesome album. And I'm glad I finally got to experience it. So guys, these are our rankings. As long as I didn't screw anything else up, I didn't leave enough space for the ones with 3, so I got all mixed-mashed, and it's kind of a little bit of a mess here, but you can kind of gauge where we have everything. Matt went with the single S tier, which was surprising. Yeah, a lot of Matt's list is surprising. Lewis, you and I kind of saw eye to eye on the good ones, except Morning Glory. But what do you guys have to say? How do you think this shook out?
Yeah. Well, Matt, I was going to ask specifically you because I think you have the most surprising list. And do you even like the bands anymore? I'm just messing.
Like serious question. Like, I just feel that people give Leftover Crack too much credit and they give SZA too much credit. And they're nothing really special in my mind. Like, John, you said this was the best ska punk album. So you're saying this is better than Operation Ivy?
It's tricky.
So you're saying you're saying this is better than Op Ivy?
I personally like it better than Operation Ivy. I personally think like that Operation Ivy, depending on which one you're talking about, like if you're talking about the expanded one with all those tracks, that's going to have more good songs on it. But personally, in 2022, I like a lot of the Choking Victims songs like a little better. But I won't say it's the best ska punk album of all time. It's up there. And in terms of influence too, like it's not as influential as Operation Ivy either. But I feel like Choking Victim kind of got that ball rolling with these bands, and so many bands kind of copied that style, and I have to give them credit. And I also want to say that I think SZA is a severely underrated songwriter. Like, I know like some of this stuff is like, it's purposefully like offensive. They may not necessarily mean it. Like it's all just imagery and stuff, but the lyrics themselves are pretty intelligent and pretty thought out. Like when I was listening back to these again, I was like impressed with like a lot of what he had to say. So I disagree with you there in terms of SZA. Like I came away more impressed with him as a songwriter.
I think the lyrics on Constructs of the State are definitely some of the strongest ones he's written too.
Yeah, like some of these lyrics are like I sat down like reading them. I was like, holy shit! Like this is like pretty like exceptional songwriting. But yeah,
I get your point though, Matt. Like I mean, I can understand. I mean, I think they're a band. I mean, they're imperfect people too, right? I mean, and the albums are imperfect. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I just feel like, I don't know. I think people give them way too much credit than what they deserve. I mean, I feel like you said, there's other bands that came out of this that I would rather listen to than these. Like, like you were mentioning before. But yeah, I mean, they're still a great punk band. I still enjoy them, but I feel like people just prop them up too much and they put them on this golden platter when they really shouldn't be, in my mind.
Well, from what I found is like a lot of the crusty people think they're too soft now, I think, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
They've been abandoned. It's like the whole Green Day Gilman thing. It's weird. Like, I don't think Leftover Crack and these bands have had, obviously not near the success of Green Day, but it's like enough success where they're no longer looked at as like this crust punk, like C Squat we read in the book type band. Like, which, whatever. I feel like they've kind of held true kind of all along. Like, I don't see any huge deviation in sound. If anything, like, it's just, keeping that style and evolving it, but not so much. Like, I don't think any of these albums are really commercial sounding. So, but yeah, I still really like most of these bands. Nothing's really changed for me. Like, I love Mediocre Generica. I've loved it since the first time I've heard it. Yeah, nothing really but positive memories for me. Oh, I want to tell this story though. While we're doing this, before we wrap up, the Cracktoberfest.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember.
Oh, I remember Cracktoberfest.
But
I think I remember.
I really, really had to pee during that show. Right? I don't know why I'm telling this story, but this is my biggest memory of it, that I had to pee so bad. And that place, it was Hook in Red Hook, Brooklyn, right?
Yeah, the Hook.
And
the Hook, yeah.
I did not want to go near that bathroom at all. So I was like, let me hold it until like we get to a restaurant or a train station or something, somewhere like slightly more sanitary. And I was like, I can hold it. So we're walking. I don't know why we didn't just hop a cab, but we like walked pretty far, like halfway back to Manhattan, I want to say. Or maybe it was like in between the matinee and the regular show. All I remember is that I popped it out and I peed for like 3 minutes straight in the middle of the road, right? And we were walking down the road and it was just like how far my pee stream had gone, like was just incredible. Like my bladder was like at critical mass. And again, I don't know why I'm sharing this story, but I am. There it is. Yeah. It's irrelevant, but
I think we only walked about 2 blocks away and you pissed against one of those steel shutter garages. And then I think the whole time this was going on, we were talking to that psychopath who had driven from
Indiana.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. Some guy who was purposefully trying to give off serial killer vibes, or maybe was a serial killer. I don't know. Very strange thing. But Those were, oh man, you know what's funny now thinking about these, and this is a good question for this ranking, John. Those shows, we saw back-to-back Leftover Crack shows, right? So the first show was like Morning Glory, somebody, I guess, and
World
then
Inferno.
Well, no, World Inferno, I think, was the second show. So you got Morning Glory opening one of them, and you got World Inferno opening the second. Now, I know you don't like World Inferno. Now, if we had ranked World Inferno in this list, would they have knocked the Morning Glories up a notch, or would they have taken all the D spots?
Yeah, I like Morning Glory better than World Inferno.
I just wanted to hear it. I just wanted to hear it. All right, agree with that one.
Yeah, that's just not my style at all. It's a little too weird for me.
It is weird.
But yeah,
that was a good show. But the one thing I wanted to add personally though about Leftover Crack is, John mentioned we played show with them, and we touched on it a little bit. We got to play with a couple bands. I thought they were like one of the nicest bands we got to, like, larger bands that we got to play with. They were super friendly and like surprisingly friendly, right?
Yeah.
Like, and they hooked us up, and they were coming into our hometown, and they we sold a lot of the tickets. So like they were totally respectful and nice, and like very surprising, but like, yeah. So I guess for that, for sure, they're always going to have a soft spot for me. Definitely. So that's all I just wanted to add.
I agree. Nice, heartwarming way to end the podcast. Unless, Matt, do you have anything else you want to say?
No. The episode's for the kids, so I'll keep it clean. I got nothing else to say.
All right. So we'll leave it on that very tender, heartwarming moment from Lewis. I like it. All you guys can go to bed, clutching your teddy bears, and, and that's it. That's it.
Oh, fuck you, John. You know you like it too.
I agree. They were the nicest larger band we played with. I mean, we played shows like with Big D, who didn't even want us to play. And it's happened, several times. I don't blame some of the bands. I mean, we weren't very good, but yeah, shout out to Leftover Crack for being super cool to us. They didn't have to. Loaded us up with a bunch of merch. So yes, if we wanted to say one more nice thing, good people, good community people. So we like that. And that is the end, guys. Drop a comment below whose list you like best. Leave a thumbs up, subscribe. It helps other punk rockers find the channel. We've got AFI coming up in 2 weeks after this. If you have any other ideas of bands you want to see us do, just drop it below. We'll consider it. And that's it. Thanks for watching.